How's it going? It's Tuesday today, right now. And I feel like so much has changed on these lives that I don't even know what's happening. I don't know what the stars mean. And I don't know if it's good or bad. But I am talking gut health today, which is a little bit out of my norm, but it's not really, because I work in the health and wellness industry and I was a health teacher, and I love all kinds of stuff surrounding health and wellness. And I have been neck deep in gut health lately. It's nothing new. It's not like I'm the first person to really realize that gut health is important, but I do feel like people are just now realizing that this is like a very important part of keeping ourselves healthy. And it's insane the effect that just an unhealthy gut can have on not just like your day, but your whole life and future illnesses and everything. The research out there is absolutely unbelievable. And so today I just wanted to talk like really low key about the findings that I have, and I'm gonna I'll write all of this up with the sources and everything coming, but I'm starting kind of a series tomorrow with some friends discussing women's health, and it's gonna be it should get inappropriate if I'm gonna be completely honest, because it's just gonna be honest and real life. And so what's been really interesting as I've gone on this journey to figure out my hormone situation is learning just how much our gut impacts not just our hormones, but like everything. And so maybe you've heard about the gut-brain connection, right? So this is something like it's thrown around a lot, but there's actually tons of research on it. At one point I was looking into this, and the findings, I believe it was Deepak Chopra who has actually a TED talk on this, and he talks about, and I've talked about this before, how our gut acts as like another brain, right? And so sometimes we need to like follow our gut. And that was really the purpose of that live. It wasn't so much to talk about the health piece behind it. But in looking more and more into this and learning more and more about it, and what I was going to say is that he talks about how like our gut and our brain actually develop from the same cells in utero, which I just find fascinating. But in learning more and more about just like how impactful the gut is, it's considered the second brain of our body. And that doesn't mean that it's like the number 2 brain. It means that it's as important as our brain, and they are super interconnected. So for example, if you've ever, I don't know, like even just before this live, my stomach was like churning, right? So like when something's happening emotionally, it can totally affect our gut. You can feel nauseated before you go on stage for something, or sick to your stomach before you're gonna get on a scary ride. All of these things, if you start to think about it, you can recognize that our brain and our gut are absolutely connected in a way that, you know, we don't necessarily take note of, but it's happening regularly. Sometimes if you have a lot of anxiety, you might have some stomach issues. And so learning more and more about the gut health and the impact that can have all over is just, it's really fun for me. It might not be for you. But for me, it's been really interesting. So what really started my journey, and I'm not excited to admit this, is that after I'd had Jeremiah, I, with all of my kids, like experimented with all kinds of things when it came to breastfeeding, because breastfeeding was always kind of a different but not super simple journey for me. And that's a whole other topic in and of itself that I would love to talk about at some point. You know, you like go into having a baby and it's like, oh, this is going to be so natural and easy. anyways, my kids were picky, and sometimes I look back and I'm like, I wonder if they really were that picky, or if it's just not that easy, right? They're adjusting to all these new things. And so in trying to help my baby feel better, sleep better, I would always eliminate things from my diet. Most often it was lactose. With Jeremiah, I did both lactose and gluten. And I'm not going to lie, part of it was because I always have a hard time losing weight when I'm breastfeeding and kind of after babies. And so, I mean, without like working really hard at it, which I don't know how people do that. I'm not the person like lifting my baby as weights, okay? So maybe some of you can relate to that. But so I removed gluten from my diet while breastfeeding Jeremiah. That's the one. And the only reason I hadn't before is because I just couldn't. Like I am a vegetarian, and I could not imagine taking bread out of my diet. I didn't feel like it. But with Jeremiah, I did, and I was really committed to it. And I think it was probably a few months in, after having removed it from my diet and figuring out how I was gonna survive without pasta and bread, I would like be like, oh, whatever, I'll just eat whatever. And immediately or the next day, I would have really adverse reactions. So for me, it would be either really bad stomach pains, stomach issues, also migraines. And I was like, what the heck? Like that can't be a thing. But the more I stayed away from it and the more I kept trying to add it back in, it was clear that this was something that I couldn't tolerate. I'm by no means a celiac, but it's just something that I have realized I need to remove from my diet. So that doesn't make for like the healthiest gut in the world, but it is one of the things that can help improve your gut. So, but I just want to give you guys some of this information so that if you're not already considering the impact that your foods and your gut are having on your health and what you're doing to help support that, maybe you will start. So, like I said, total gut-brain connection. And when you really like look into it, it makes complete sense. Our gut is considered everything from our esophagus to our bowels, right? And the whole purpose of it is to digest foods so that your body can utilize those foods for the energy that allows us to move, to think, to go, to do, to like function, right? And so when you really like it's not that shocking that having poor gut health would then, there's something weird going on in my house. Like I have a feeling Alexa is just talking for no reason. When you have poor gut health, that you're going to have problems in other areas. But what may shock you are what some of the signs and symptoms are of poor gut health. So poor digestion, I mean, that's not shocking, but maintaining a healthy weight, oftentimes it can cause weight gain for different reasons, specifically in women. Issues with sleeping, it can cause excess stress and depression, which is wild. But again, when you think about it, it's impacting everything in your body. And so that's going to also be regulating hormones. And when your hormones are out of whack, so much else is out of whack. And I am somebody who has wacky hormones. So when you're, and there's more, okay? But when your gut is in check, I just keep hearing this and it's like there's like a bunch of birds in my house or something. When your gut is in check, when you have really optimal gut health, you have better digestion, better sleep, you can maintain a healthy weight, you have increased energy levels, you're able to think clearer, you have better mental clarity, which is like, is there anybody who's like, my brain is so clear? I've got it all together and I can like think and do all the things, and I know exactly what time to be where and when, and I don't know. If that's who you are, I would like to talk to you about your unicorn horn. Obviously, your GI issues will go down. You will actually improve in happiness, okay? Like, quality of life, your mental health and quality of life does actually get seriously impacted by your gut health. This is something that I've only recently dove into because there are actually specific probiotics and specific bacteria that will increase your serotonin and whatnot. So, and it's just fascinating to me. I don't know if you guys are like, this is boring. And it also allows for balanced hormone levels. Okay. So when you think about it, like, again, when your gut is working in the way it's supposed to, there's all these different pieces and parts of your gut that have different jobs that are trying to pull different nutrients out, and so that they can deliver them to the places that they need to go so that these different parts of your body can function optimally, then it makes sense that you're going to be impacted in a number of different ways with not great gut health. I do have notes over here because I'm like, I gotta stay on track because I'm me. I'll end up just talking about my kids' poop or something. So it's all about the microbiome in your gut. And that's intense, okay? I have looked at different diets for like the optimal gut, and I try very hard to follow I try to follow the rules, okay? But it is hard. You need prebiotics, postbiotics, probiotics, ones that are actually going to make it through your body, and food is ideally the best way to do that, but it's got to be whole food. It's got to be lots of vitamins and minerals coming from fresh fruits and vegetables, organic. Like, it's a major life shift in order to get all of this stuff into you and your body. And if you are a single person who loves to cook and spend lots of money on groceries and time, I know, I'll go off topic. Then, congratulations. Maybe you can follow the strictest of diets, but there are some amazing things, and I'm going to talk about them in my stories to share with you what I do outside of my personal diet choices to really help improve my gut health. So again, you're going back to these different microorganisms and microbiomes that have to exist in order for your gut to release. It's actually going to control blood flow and the nutrients in your blood flow and where those go, okay? Can you tell how excited I am about all of this information? Because for me, when I start to understand something, I care a lot more about it. And it's just very interesting to me how often as consumers we go, oh, that's a probiotic. I'll just take that and then everything's going to be better. Or, oh yeah, that's a collagen. And they say it's the best. So I don't know anything about how this works or how it's absorbed. I say that because I saw a very uninformed post earlier today, and I'm like, oh gosh, I get it. Nobody has time to go out there and research everything. So if you need to know about something, tell me. I'll go research it. I love research. Anyways, when we learn about stuff, we care more about it. We think more about it. We start to recognize those effects that the decisions have on us. And so what I found to be really interesting was that there's this, I don't know what the birds are doing in my house. Why? There is a reduction in serotonin after we have something that is negative for our gut, right? So it does not do well to have starchy foods, sugars, processed foods, and certain fats. I'm sorry. This doesn't mean that you have to absolutely take them all out of your diet, but what I thought was fascinating is that how many times have you had like maybe a second piece of cheesecake and then you're like, I will be like really upset with myself for the rest of the day. And I can talk to myself and be like, I'm allowed to have 2 freaking pieces of cheesecake. Like I haven't had cheesecake in I don't even know how long. But there is an actual chemical response that reduces your endorphins and serotonin when your gut has these things inside of it rather than the healthy microbiome that it needs. And so it's not just guilt that you ate the thing that you know is not great for you, but it's an actual chemical response that, contributes to this feeling of just like, ugh, like I'm not happy with myself. And the same thing goes for, fast food or anything like that. But then also we know that there can be bad, like bodily responses when we don't treat ourselves perfectly. And that's kind of what we pay attention to. When we think gut health, we think like, oh, constipation and diarrhea. And those are like the 2 things when we're like, oh gosh, my stomach hurts, I'm going to take some Tums. And we just treat it like quickly, temporary fix, instead of really noticing the impact that it has on everything. And so if you struggle from really, there are so many different things that are effects of an unhealthy gut. I mean, from autoimmune disease to thinning hair to hormonal issues, because your gut is going to have a huge impact on your body being able to produce and regulate your hormones. Women, this is why it's such a huge thing when specifically estrogen regulation. So, I mean, that alone can impact, so many things. It can impact your sexual health. It can impact your weight gain. Women who reach a certain age and it's like, and I mean, for me, it happened in my mid-30s. I was running a lot. I mean, that's how I got on this whole journey with my with my new company. I guess it's not very new anymore. As I couldn't lose the weight. I lost you for a second. I couldn't lose the weight. I was running a lot. I was eating healthy. I mean, maybe there was more alcohol than I needed to be consuming, which also contributed to poor gut health. But I was doing the things and nothing was working. And it wasn't until I really started taking care of my gut health that things started changing and improving. And I still have a long ways to go. So I don't want anybody to think that this speech or soliloquy is to, badger anybody into changing their diet completely or stopping some of the things that you love so much, but it's to educate and help you recognize some of the things that like I'm baffled by just how much this truly impacts every area of our life. The main role is obviously nutrient absorption, elimination, and then allowing those nutrients to go everywhere in the body that they need to go. One of the main organs, and this is going to impact all your organs, one of the main organs that can be impacted and very positively impacted by gut health, good gut health, is your liver. And I mean, your liver, it's ugly. I mean, liver, it's just ugly. It just is. However, it is a very important organ. I know. My husband makes fun of me when I throw words like that out. Your liver is it's there to detoxify your body. I mean, it's important. It's super important. And when it's functioning at peak performance, it's going to be able to not only eliminate like the general toxins in your body. Yeah, Morgan, for sure. it's not only going to help eliminate these toxins, but you guys, it helps fight illness, eliminate viruses. This is again why your gut health is going to lead to the health of everything else, and it's not only going to improve symptoms of so many things right now, but it's also shown to, like, research is showing that poor gut health has played a role in Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Hold on, I have to find my list because I was like, and like I said, I do absolutely have sources for all of these, so I'm not just like making it up, but I'm not going to cite myself as I'm talking. The gut and liver can work together when taken care of in order to fight a lot of disease and future illness. And that is amazing, right? I wanted to get to, now everybody's going to leave me when I wanted to really find this. Okay, so it not only plays a huge role in estrogen regulation, it can increase the risk of estrogen-related diseases. So that's PCOS, that's endometriosis, which is me, severe. Also, breast cancer. They've found links to, like I said, I gotta find my list here. I don't know where it is. But I know that Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, spinal cord issues, brain deterioration, almost everything that we care about is somehow impacted. And that's not to say that we know that horrible things happen to random people all the time, but preventative medicine is the best medicine. And one of those things is just healthy diet, understanding that what you are putting into your body is actually having this impact, and understanding that impact a little bit better so that, again, you're not having to like upend your whole life, but you can start to make little changes to improve that, right? So like I said, when it comes to women and hormone health, like, this is huge, because every time that I bring up hormones and women and just women issues, you know, the fact that like we can do the exact same diet and the exact same exercise as our husbands, and they will like lose 15 pounds in 3 days, and we're just like, what's that about? So much to do with our gut and the fact that it's not allowing our hormones to be regulated, and that it's, you know, we have high levels of cortisol, and it's just kind of this like ever revolving door of stress and not eating right, and the high cortisol and the estrogen and the progesterone. It's like all this stuff that like can start to be improved through proper gut health. This is like the magical thing that everybody has been ignoring for a really long time, because if our stomach is upset or something doesn't sit right, then we're just going to take something to make it better. And once it's better, we're like, phew, that's great. Now I can eat whatever I want again, right? So signs, okay, so it also can contribute to leaky gut syndrome, which is something that I actually have heard so much about lately. Friends who have had it, they don't determine it until they've just become like so sick and lost so much weight they can't eat. And essentially what that is your intestine like becoming permeable and starting to leak, which is obviously not a good thing. And one of the things that like I love so much about a solid collagen, and if you've followed me for any amount of time, like I only believe in one kind of collagen, is that it helps to improve all your soft tissue, and it's vital to improving your gut lining. So I just like, that is amazing to me. But beyond that, improving your gut health can absolutely help with leaky gut syndrome, and not having great gut health can 100% contribute to having leaky gut. And that is not a fun thing. It comes from stress, poor diet, or an injury also. But poor diet is the one that we can really improve on, and it's going to reduce stress. And, it just keeps working together. Also things that, there are a lot of other things that create stress that I will try to help you with in my podcast, but I can't make any promises. I can't fix your 2-year-old. They're just going to have to grow out of it. So signs and symptoms, again, of having an unhealthy gut include hormonal imbalances, stomach discomfort, fatigue, weight changes, allergies, you guys, what? Autoimmune deficiencies, migraines, acne, sleep imbalance, and many other life-altering conditions. That's Patino 2020. Many other life-altering conditions. Did you know that hormonal imbalance, the things that I already mentioned a few, but it can cause weight gain, just fun. Has anybody ever been like, I think my hormones are what's wrong with me? But to find out that like you can actually start to improve your hormones through your diet, rather than having to like find the one nutritionist who knows what they're talking about, because doctors will test your hormones and be like, they're fine, when it takes somebody with vast knowledge of hormones to really figure out what you need. Low sex drive, thinning of hair, increased thirst or hunger, which like I'm like incredibly thirsty right now, so I'm like, wait a second. Excessive sweating. We're going to talk more about menopause. I've actually been through a chemically induced menopause when I was like 24. It was funny. I've got some stories about that. But the long-term impacts, this is what I was looking for. Long-term impacts of an unhealthy gut include depression, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, and strokes. And when you pair that with what your liver is capable of doing, and the positive impact that can have, it's absolutely worth working towards improving your gut health to improve your overall health, and know that it's also going to improve your mental health and wellness. You cannot get rid of all the stress in your life, but to be able to know that you can actually improve your mental health and clarity and focus and all that simply through giving your gut what it needs on a regular basis, it should feel a little bit freeing. So like I said, there are products that I use that help me greatly, and they're clean and they're clinically proven and they have incredible science behind them. But it's also, you're able to do it through diets. I mean, you can just Google gut health diets and they'll be there. We're sharing, I have a large group. It's called Clean Healthy Living. And we're sharing all kinds of different food options and, sorry, I got a notification, meal suggestions in there. And so you're free to join if you want. I can put the link to it down below. I'll probably also post this in there. And sorry, I'm just making sure that I didn't miss anything over here. I'm sure I missed a lot. But, all in all, the most important thing is that if gut health isn't something that you've considered, and if you have like basically anything that isn't fun in your body going on, it is absolutely imperative that you start to consider your gut health. And there's nothing bad that can come from that. Again, you don't have to change everything. I know how hard that can be, especially if you have like kids and you're feeding people, or like me, like I go home and everyone's like, oh yeah, Katie doesn't have gluten or meat. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm fine. Just give me a salad and I'll find something. It's not the easiest thing, but when you notice how much better it makes you feel, it is absolutely worth it. And again, I just like to inform because I feel like once we have that knowledge, we not only pay more attention to ourselves, but we become more committed to what we're trying to achieve. And that's what's true in every area of life, not just health. So I hope that this was somewhat helpful. Sorry it wasn't very funny or like whatever. I do have some funny stories I could tell you, but then this would be like an hour-long video, and I don't want to do that to you. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST with some of my very good friends talking about inappropriate things that we're going to make appropriate, because it's stupid that we don't talk about this stuff since it happens to every woman out there. So it's going to be every Wednesday, and I'll come up with some kind of fun name for it, I hope. But like I said, everything from first periods to menopause to babies and all the stuff. We go through a lot, you guys. We go through a lot. Gut health is not just important for women, though. It is equally important for men. Again, there's all kinds of things that come from estrogen and estrogen production. So to be able to improve that and regulate it, it can improve bone density. It can improve a lot of other things that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's all good stuff. If you want this in writing, you can head to levelafternext.com, and I will be sure to put it all in writing with all of the sources and all the information that you would need. And I'm always here if you have questions. Gut health for men, I know, yes. I mean, it's the same thing, Van. It's going to help regulate hormones. So I know a lot like testosterone. That's the only hormone I can think of right now. I'm just joking. Serotonin, endorphins, like that's all the same for men. And so I think that men probably struggle a lot with this, because I'm sorry, like men can be pretty careless when it comes to what they put in their bodies. Because, I mean, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying, like, even my like healthiest male friends and brothers tend to overindulge at times. And it's funny because I would like to use my older brother as an example. I have two older brothers, so nobody knows which one I'm talking about. But he'll overindulge in sweets or whatever, and then tell me how he felt like crap for 3 days. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Do you want to hear why? And he's like, no. I'm like, I'll just send you some stuff. Just take it and try not to eat all the cookies. See, man? So, yeah, and when you consider the effect that it has on serotonin, endorphins, all that stuff like that, it's going to impact men just as much as women, especially when we're talking about them finding a connection to Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. I mean, it's having an impact on the brain. So potentially any disease of the brain, I'm not going to say it would cause it or be healed by gut health, but it's going to impact it. So that's my TED Talk for today. Thank you guys for hanging out and checking this out. I hope it was somewhat informative. Again, I'll provide all this information. I do have a group where we're going to be talking more and more about not just gut health, but different ways to improve your gut health. Small exercises if you want to get in on that. We have some giveaways. And of course, I do have products that are incredible if you're looking for something to add and support your gut health. But the most important thing is going to be just really considering your regular diet, because I would never keep you from indulging and enjoying foods that you love here and there. All right, I'm out. My husband came home for lunch to surprise me. Yay!